All right, guys, so welcome to the pre-challenge webinar. This webinar is for two groups of people. My name is Ronnie Rich, and I am the former FatBanker, now FitBanker, and the CEO and founder of FitBanker. And we're an online health transformation education organization, and we've really caused and continue to cause phenomenal results in lives out there globally across 15 countries. And we've had hundreds of people do our program, including a host of busy moms, medical doctors, engineers, dads, bankers, students, all walks of life, from as young as 16 and as old as 70. We're going to go through today to have those of you that are already signed on to the program know what's needed to cause your success, and those of you that want to just take something away that you can use and implement in your lives, feel free to ask any questions. We'll share with you some stuff around our methodology. I'm going to invite you all to put yourselves on mute unless you are sharing, just so that there's no background noise. So if you could put mute, and when you want to ask a question, of course, remember to unmute yourself. To mute yourself is simply that mic symbol at your end, whether you're joining from a phone app or whether you're joining from a desktop. As mentioned, we want the session to be as interactive as possible. It's for you, and you guys have taken the time and you're listening out. And we have two sessions. Today is a bit about the challenge and what really causes success, and we're doing one more tomorrow, and we're going to talk, and this is just extracts from our webinars that are actually on the program. We're going to offer some tips people can take to begin to boost their metabolism. And there's always this question we get asked more than ever, which is, how much protein should I take? So we're going to cover a bit about that on tomorrow's webinar, but today's specifically for those already on the challenge and anyone wanting to find out. Okay, this is also, as a reminder, this is a recorded webinar. For those that cannot make it, then we will send them a recording. Also, if you stick to the end of it, we always love to give a little bonus and a gift, and we've got something that we'll be offering all of you at the end of this webinar. So please do stick around and ask any questions as we go through. So let's get started. Yes, that is me before and me after, and they called me beautiful either way. Before we get started, I'd love to set context with a beautiful spiritual quote. We also work on developing our spiritual muscle through our program, and we're not just about physical. We'll talk a bit about that in today's session. The Dalai Lama, when asked what surprised him most about humanity, answered, man, because he sacrifices his health in order to make money, then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. And I'm somebody that has experienced this firsthand. And it's something I don't take pleasure in telling people, but at the start of every challenge, I tell people, look now, open your eyes and open your ears. And for the next 90 days, whether you're on this program or not, I'm going to invite you to listen for and look out at what's going on in the world. Someone in our family or ourselves or friends, we will hear the sad news of them being diagnosed with a lifestyle disease. And they've had a very busy lifestyle, worrying about family, worrying about money, worrying about finances, career, about their body image, about relationship status. They worry and they impact their lifestyle health. And what we do is we think the solution to lifestyle diseases is in education. And the education, the answer is in the name itself, lifestyle disease. If we educate you on a healthy lifestyle, we drop off the disease. And that's effectively all that we do, and we are phenomenal at it. And we've had some amazing results. And one of the testimonials on our website, which I always quote from Dr. Diksha Patel, is what one physician is struggling to do, this guy is doing with hundreds of people at a time. And it's really not me alone. It's a phenomenal team, and it's the cohort of people that have done this challenge before any of you that are about to. So let's get started. And before we do, many of you might be joining in and you might not know my full story or my history. So is it okay if I take a few minutes and go through my journey from FatBanker to FitBanker? I share this because I really want each of you to understand why I have such a vested interest in it, and why I have shelved currently a career in banking to be available for this organization and make myself of value add to participants on our program. So I'm going to crack on and go right into that. So those of you who may know, so I used to be a banker. I have 12 years working in finance and accounting, and the last 6 years of my banking and finance career were with a phenomenal organization called JP Morgan. Brilliant global international conglomerate. I got to live a phenomenal lifestyle, traveling the world. I worked in a couple of areas of the business, one called private equity and real estate services, and one called asset management. And we really got to earn a good income and afforded what I thought was a great lifestyle. I got to travel a lot. I got to live the city lifestyle. I could do what that money could afford me, and we had loads of social entertainment life after hours, also during the office, like that photo there. That's not actually us. That's obviously from the movie Wolf of Wall Street, but it's not too far from the kind of fun that we had or what we thought was a great lifestyle. And living this lifestyle was all good, and while I thought I was what was defined as success, somehow I never saw that when I looked in the mirror, because the lifestyle I was living, what turned out was this guy, a fat banker. And my lifestyle was about going out, eating out frequently, having what we call the occasional sip, and if we ever added up how occasional that was, it was quite a lot. And I wasn't even somebody that was an alcoholic. I wasn't somebody that didn't control, but I really was doing what I thought. That's not much. I have it once or twice. I drink once a week or sometimes once in 2 weeks. And what turned out was this geezer that we see on screen. And I also would do this with my wife, and we find that my wife and me would go out, eat a pizza, and the next day she looks the same, and I've put on half a kilo. And then I discovered this thing called body types. So we're going to talk a bit more about that when we talk about our methodology and approach. And that's a big part of the science that we use and leverage. So when this fit banker or fat banker was living what I thought was the peak of my career and enjoying success, I was in my late 20s, early 30s. I was already vice president by like 28, 29, and around 33, 32, I got married. And when I was 33, we were 9 months married. My wife was 3 months pregnant, and it was a birthday. It was August 2013, and we had gone up to Edinburgh to the Fringe Festival. Now, I don't know how many of you have heard of or been to the Fringe Festival, but it's where the world gathers for loads of fun, entertainment, and it's really joyous occasion. Like, I'd love to go there time and time again. But this trip was very memorable, and I don't know what it will be like going there again. We had loads of fun celebrating Ambi's birthday and celebrating that we were 3 months pregnant. And the future looked very bright and beautiful. But while we were there, all of a sudden, that bright future took a 180-degree turn as we began the onset of a miscarriage. And we were 3 months pregnant, and suddenly we've lost this new baby that's going to be coming on into our life, this future of ours. And it was very stressful, and it got very gloomy and heated between the both of us, and it also impacted us both stress-wise. And on the way back, on the train back the following day from Edinburgh, I had these heart palpitations, and I thought, being this overconfident, cocky guy that knows it all and that wasn't willing to be contributed to, told my wife, it's all right, I'm just going to do some deep breathing, I'll drink some water, and I'll sleep, I'll be all right in the morning. To which she immediately screamed, there's no way I'm waking up tomorrow having lost another one. And it really hit me in that moment that what I think of my body and my health has got nothing to do with me. That's such a small life to be living, but that others bank on my fitness. I know it's very easy and something that we say, but when we really shift and get present to how many people and lives depend on us being fit, then we will begin to bank our fitness. Hence the name Fit Banker. But that evening I ended up in A&E, and I had a host of blood tests being taken out of me, and stuff attached and strapped to my legs, you can see there, and to my chest and to my arms and everywhere. I was undergoing what was called an ECG test, and then the following days I did a different type called ECG stress test, where I did it on a treadmill, and I had a host more samples of blood taken and other tests conducted and questions and some initial medication. And I was in this world where I was this guinea pig that was being opened and checked into, and I just got clear for myself that, I so don't want to be living that life where I am regularly attending these visits, or even dependent on a medical system where it is great, and when I'm unwell I will go there, but it's not necessary. And I don't want to be living a life where, at the time, my dad used to be with this box of medication where he had 4 or 5 tablets he had to take 3 times a day. And I was so clear that that's not what I wanted. That's not the future I wanted. And the second thing I knew very well for myself was I could well do something about it. And so that sparked off a host of research and a host of trial and error on multiple exercise regimes, diet regimes, gyms and training, and a lot of what was hardcore stuff, because we're in a world where we're filled by fitness or health has got to do with working out. So I went for it. At the age of 33, I was pushing and battering my body against the concrete, running and trying to fix it. And it just caused me injury doing that when I was overweight and doing it the wrong way. Everyone says you can eat what you want so long you burn it off. An absolute myth. And we coach on this, and I realized that that isn't true. Eventually, I started through a hybrid of multiple fad diets. What I mean by fad diets, they just didn't last, and they were not sustainable. They were not pragmatic for everyday kind of lifestyle, and exercise regimes that just worked on causing a major burnout, and then I'm unwell or feeling sore or knackered for the next 2-3 days. And I thought there must be a way that we can shift this stuff and yet eat healthily and eat a quantity that we want to eat. And after that, I kind of found out what was working, and I began to now understand body types and the science of that, and foods that work for us and foods that work against us, and removing those and adding those that really boost our metabolism. So at 33, I'm going for it. You can see these photos. I turned 34 by then, and I started losing weight, started plummeting from 108 at my heaviest. I came down to 76.5 eventually, and I went at a rate at my peak 3 months of 5.5 kilos being lost in those 3 months. Before those end of that 5-month period where I caused this transformation, I was on Facebook one day, and I see these guys are successful multi-millionaire entrepreneur coaches, and they run these seminars and coaching programs, and they posted this photo. About 3 of them were going to do this body transformation program, and by now I'd already figured out how to transform my body, and I was working on the science of fat percentage and body types. And I said, guys, I can give you guys a run for your money. So I said, all right, you're in, post your before photo. And I had 24 hours to make this very confronting decision. How can I post my photo up there? I have fellow MDs and vice presidents and executive directors on my Facebook page that are connected to me. I must look professional. And for whatever reason, somewhere in my mind, I had it that as human beings, all of us that were born naked and going to die and be buried naked, there was some way I could not post that photo. Anyway, I bit the bullet, and since then I've followed the science that if it scares you, it's probably right for you. I posted it, and I had a very big emotional and psychological shift in having to be in action. And I went then from that 86.85, but about 19% fat, down to 79 kilos and 11.3% fat. It carried on after that challenge. I won that challenge, and it created a massive social media following. Eventually went down to 5.9% fat. That was the birth of FITBANKER. People started reaching out to me asking, what did you do? How did you eat? How did you train? And I would tell these people, and I just found that they weren't taking it on. And I really wanted to make a difference to people. I really wanted to show people it's so easy. But you just don't tell people. If I gave them my food, my meal plan, or my recipes, they just weren't implementing it. So how can I create a structure where I can have them be accountable? And that's how we created FITBank and the FITBanker Challenge. So for 90 days, you're in a community of people that are all up to something, right? And that's what makes a massive difference. We're going to talk about that shortly. And I get to personally be there and reach out to you and nudge you and like your posts and see what you're doing. And you keep sharing that you're in action, and you ask questions, and we really, really, really support you. And that's what I realized is FITBanker, that we are the education provider and the solution provider for whatever it is you're struggling with in the area of health, specifically lifestyle diseases. And we're causing a massive shift. And the transformation in your body, that six-pack, those big guns, that booty, those thighs, whatever it is you want, it's just a byproduct. But when you focus on health, that's a true game to be playing, and that's why we exist. So let's have a look at what's possible once we've created the science, and is it transferable to anyone? So Like I said, 15 countries, hundreds of people. This is Dr. Diksha Patel. She's the one who said that what one physician is struggling one at a time with a patient, this guy's doing with hundreds at a time. 9.1 kilos lost. Chani, she's a dentist based in Kent. Ever since she had a baby, she got so busy with the masters and focusing on her career and profession, and she went to the top of it. She does really well, and she says all this time she prioritized that and her patients and everything at the expense of her. She does this in 90 days. She really gets to her peak self. This is Alyssa. Alyssa is an actress, and she kept, when she joined, she says, I want to do this to go back into acting. I want to go into acting. I don't know if she was an actress before, but she got clear for herself, this is what I choose to do in life. And she had it that she needs to get in a better shape for her acting career. Anyway, she did this one program. She loses 11.3 kilos. She did a second one. I think she went on to lose 16 or 17 kilos. I'm not sure the total. But 3 weeks ago, she reached out to us, just sharing the post that she landed a role in audition, and she's going to be on one of these high street theatrical musicals, which is so awesome, because when you transform your health and you find a methodology that gets you to transform health, you can use that science to transform any area of your life. And we're in the world of transformation, and we believe, and we've seen people transform relationships, career, business, everything after they get to transform their self-image of themselves and they love themselves. Throughout, they get to conquer anything. These guys are what I call the fit doctors. I met these guys. They're both doctors from Orlando, Florida. They came down to London in November or October, November 2015, and they came to London for a TED Talk. They were invited to give a TED Talk, and when they did, I spoke to them about this thing. Somebody told them, you've got to meet this guy called FITBANKER. Never met these guys before. We got chatting. I gave them at the table a whole host of tips and actions to take on. They did it. They were surprised. In 3-4 weeks, their weight started plummeting. They reached out in January. They joined the January challenge, and these guys are absolutely social media stars. They appear on Fox News. They are always on Facebook, and they do this annual thing called Drive for Men's Health, where they tour from Florida. They drive all the way to New York, and along the way they meet patients and clients and a whole host of people, coaching them on health. And I thought, what if I could be the difference that makes them look like the models and the ambassadors of their own industry, so they can transform that. And we got that guy, Dr. Siege, on the left. He lost 53 pounds from his heaviest to what he is now. Jamin Brumbett, he lost, what did he lose? Maybe about 30 something pounds. And both of them, they just get to be at the peak of themselves, and they get to make the most difference. So we get to feel that we're making a difference to their patients, because these guys are around longer, they're healthier, and you'd think they're doctors, they should know this, but no, they've been too busy studying while neglecting their health, and we get to make a difference for them. Nia, welcome to the webinar. We just gone through a bit of my story. We're sharing some of the results of what's possible, and amongst all the stories and the impact that we've made to hundreds of lives, there's loads more. This is Rebecca. She's a vegan, and she was like, can you do a vegan diet? I said, absolutely. I'm lacto-vegetarian myself, so I'm vegan plus milk. And she did our challenge after trying a host of other things. Every other club out there, from Weight Watchers to Slimming, I don't know what they're called, everything. And she struggled. And she did our challenge online, and she loses 15 kilos. She's gone on to lose 17 kilos. Like I say, amongst other shifts, she got a shift of career. She's moved to San Francisco. She's shifted relationship status. She's an absolute beauty, and she just transformed a whole bunch of her friends and community who she invited onto the challenge. This is David Kavanagh. He was in Amsterdam at the time, now in I think Dublin. This was 45 days, and he caused that massive shift. Simply doing the system by design. He was regularly being in action. Some of the exercises as minimum as walking. For those people that join us because they want to lose weight, it's the easiest thing. I don't want to die knowing a single person who struggled to lose weight, because it is so easy. And he's also increased his strength, increased energy. So if that's something that you want to do, you may not want to lose weight, but you might want to bulk up. You might want to increase strength, energy. That's also there for you. This is Andrew Walker. Surprisingly, he's somebody who's also got into acting, back into Priscilla. So he used to do the musical theatrical Priscilla, and he's getting back into it. He's just finished his first challenge. He's now on his second one. He started in January. Some of you might know him. And he's lost, he's gone on to lose another 6 kilos in this challenge. So he's already come down to about 171. So he's at a total, sorry, pounds. So He's at a total loss, I think now, of about 40, almost 40 pounds that he's lost, which is really impressive. Oh, 30 something pounds, sorry. And who else have we got here? Not going to go over all of them, but there's obviously, this is Hanish from South Africa. Him and his wife joined. Question was, how can we do it? We're both on the challenge. Do we have to cook separate meals? I have a little baby. How will we take care of that? How will we feed the baby? All these reasons they were concerned about, and they just bit the bullet. They threw themselves in, and that couple became one inspiring couple, and they started transforming colleagues at work just by seeing the difference. They started shifting the snacks they brought to work, and this guy went on to, I think he shattered his record in his challenge. He lost 17 kilos, 37 pounds he lost in his program, which is absolutely amazing. But above all this, like I say, our focus is on health, and I'm really interested in a world where things like obesity, lifestyle diseases, cancers, heart disease. Just today I got news that my aunt has been diagnosed with cancer. We've been battling with my uncle who's had cancer for now 2.5, 3 years, and today we just received news that now my aunt is diagnosed with it. Very sad. Like I told you at the start of this webinar, in the next 90 days we will see and hear of people being diagnosed with a lifestyle disease. And that's why our focus is on health. This is Manisha. She's an old friend of mine from Zambia. She is a phlebotomist working in the US, and basically they are the people that take your blood samples and deal with syringes when you go to a GP or clinic, and they test the blood and look for any disease in there. And even though she worked in that health space, she was stuck. She was, after she had a baby, she had what is it called, gastric diabetes. And she then went on to be pre-diabetic, and she was told at the start when she started her challenge that you are now going to be diagnosed possibly with type 2 diabetes, right? Your diagnosis is simply you fit now in a statistic. And I told her we could transform this, and she said, Ronnie, I can't do the challenge. It's too expensive. I'm spending so much on medication and insurance and this, that, the other. And I said, what if you use that money to do this education program, you transform that, and then you won't need to spend on that medication. It was really moving. Midway through her challenge, she asked me for some tips before, so she'd already started a bit of about 2-3 weeks before challenge began. 10 days into it, she went for a next review, and the doctor had to test it twice. I said, I don't know what you've done, but you are so in the green now. You're not in the red zone. Discontinue your medication. And it was a very moving post. She posted packs of medications and syringes and insulin to say, guys, if anyone's suffering with diabetes, please take this stuff away. I no longer need it, and it costs a lot of money, so please let me contribute to you. This is one of my favorite stories. She's from Zambia, and she went from size 20 down to size 14, 16, but she joined us because she was a mom of one, and they were trying to conceive again, and they were struggling, and they chose to go the IVF route. And the IVF clinic refused to take her on because she was still overweight. She spent a year trying every lotion, potion, pill, diet, apparently the things called wraps, all kinds of stuff, and she struggled to lose weight. She went back to the IVF clinic a year later, only 3 or 4 kilos lighter, and they said, you're still not fit and ready enough. And she did our program, and in 90 days, she lost 12.8 kilos. Previously, it took her a year to lose 3 kilos. In our challenge, she lost 12.8 kilos in 90 days. But by week 10, she was approved to start her IVF process, and I'm very, very delighted to say she now has 3-month-old twins as a result of that. So we really get to contribute to people shifting their life and causing life literally. And my favorite story above all is my old man. I had to demonstrate that anyone could do this. So I spoke to my mom and dad, and I said, Mom, Dad, I invite you guys to take this on, because I'd love for you to be around longer to see your grandkids, and none of us are expecting, or none of us have grandkids at the time. And my dad was 70 years old at the time. He lived the 10 years prior on high BP and cholesterol medications, and he started off with 90 kilos. And he started a few weeks before his challenge again. By the end of his challenge, or at his peak, he reached 72.5 kilos. So he lost 20% of his body. 17.5 kilos was rehomed from this man's belly to ether. And he went, and the medical professor told him, you don't need your high BP and your cholesterol medication, statins anymore, right? We're living in a world where medication, I think, is actually making our bodies dependent on it and reliant on it, rather than us being inspired to live the right way, that we don't need those things. And Dad transformed that, and he's just a happy chappy now, and he's just an awesome man. He's a lot more younger, he's a lot more adventurous, a lot more entrepreneurial. So these are three of my favorite health stories and our focus. And that's really why we exist, and we're going to continue to empower and contribute to people to shift this for them. So let me talk to you a bit about the challenge. So if you're somebody that's on the challenge, this is something you need to very quickly know what we are and what we are not. We are an education system. We're delivered online. We leverage social media and we want to change the way social media is used. Over the program, we are going to transform your relationship to food. There's going to be mind coaching, so you'll form a new relationship to food, from one that is taste-based to one that is functional as well as taste-based. So you will love what you get to eat. I tell people, yes, after you can eat what you want after you do our challenge, but by the end of the challenge, even midway through it, even within month 1, you will start changing what food you want, because you will have a new relationship with it. You will transform your relationship to exercise, to pain, to physical activity, to your limiting barriers that you've adopted from maybe when you were a kid in school in sports day and you weren't picked for a particular sport. At that moment, you adopted some limiting point of view about life. We will have you disappear that so that you unravel yourself. Like, I never ran more than 10 kilometers in my life. In my 20s, and at the age of last year I went and did man versus mountain, just 21-mile race up Mount Snowdon and down, and that was unthinkable as something I could do. What we're obviously not a gym, because we're existing online. We're not offering personal training, even though I'm a personal trainer and a nutritionist. I'm not a nutritional advisor. There's a slight language distinction there in the UK, and somebody who diagnoses you with a dietary condition or diagnoses you with treatment for that is called a nutritional therapist, and that's something that we're not doing because we cannot test you or assess you in person. What we do is we do provide you meal plan, what I call meal plan ideas. So based on your body type, your gender, your age, your goals, we will create a meal plan that is a phenomenally close fit for you or somebody of a comparable body type and goals. And any allergies that you have, we will cater for them, whether it's lactose, egg, or IBS, or whatever it is. We will factor that in and we will create one that works for you. We will then coach you how to use that with other tools that we provide. We will provide you with certain apps to use. Those of you that have already signed up, you've received instructions on those apps. You download them, and then we'll coach you on how to set them up. So that will be today and on webinar 1, which is next week, Wednesday. We do have within our campus personal trainers, nutritionists, myself. We have other medical professionals. 8 or 9 doctors have done this. They're also on that campus. We have naturopaths on that campus. We have gastroenterologists on that campus who've done the challenge, right? These are people who've done the program. And throughout the program, obviously put your safety first, but don't play small, because you will discover what you're capable of doing through this program, and new energy and new strength. So be adventurous, take a lead, take some risk, but be mindful of your safety. Okay, so over this program, most people think fitness is all about the muscle and the guns and the abs and all that stuff. That's physical muscle. We actually work on 4 main muscle groups. So what are these? These are spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. What do I mean by spiritual? When you sign up for this program, you get a questionnaire. On there's a question to what is your greater why? You see, when we sign up to something in life, it's very easy to get discouraged or get disempowered. Why? Because we go and look in the mirror every day, or we stand on the scale and we look at that number there and we make meaning of it, and we think, this is not happening, it's not working for me. Our minds have been trained to self-sabotage anything. And we know that your minds do that. But we as coaches, and the phenomenal Emma Coyne who's on this challenge, and my wife who supports us in the business as well, are coaches that are trained to have you and have your participation flow with ease. So we will coach you to have you transform that thing that's making you disempowered and being in action. And your greatest source of power is to get present to your greater why. It might be your children, it might be your parents that you want to do this for. It might be that you have this phenomenal entrepreneurial vision that you want to save the environment, and it will need this vehicle called your body to be around. When you're connected truly to that purpose, you'll have a different level of participation and performance. Second is mental. We will coach you on all the math and the analytics. Those of you that are technical guys, you want to know the data, you want to know the science of how many calories should I take in, how many should I burn, and what are macros, and what's the right timing, and how much protein should I take. We're going to give you all that simple math as well, and the technical data. And the emotional side is, many of us, like we say, we have a relationship to food. I did a webinar last week on understanding how we form taste, and we have an association with certain foods, or we've adopted our relationship to food might be one where we dominate people. So when we're a baby, our parents are trying to put a spoon in our mouth, and we close our mouth and we go and we move our mouth away, and in that moment we've learned how to dominate people. And then what happens, we grow up and we get into university and we start wanting to fit in, and we adopt habits like alcohol and drinking and smoking, and we adopt habits like junk food because it's the cool thing to do. And then we join the corporate world and we go out and we wine and dine, and we formed phenomenal ties and neurological connections in our brain between activity and memory that it brings, activity and memory that it brings. And over this program, we will rewire that to one that you'll be liberated and not a slave to your old habits. And of course, physical, we provide you with training program. In fact, we provide you with one for the gym, one that you can use at home. We will give you HIIT workout. We will give you interrupt routines. We will give you loads of physical exercise that you can do. And physical exercise is about 10% of your transformation. 40% has got to do with your nutrition, and 50% has got to do with your mindset. Most of the world out there are joining gyms, and you should join the gym, by the way, but most of them are joining gyms and killing themselves, but they go home and they eat the wrong crap, and they're stressing every day, and they're wondering why the gym is not causing them results, because we're in a world that is approaching this the wrong way, and we're trying to transform how that industry operates as well. So you've signed up to the program, and I want you guys to know what we're going to cover now. There are 5 tips that's really, really going to cause a shift. First of all, you've seen the results that we've shared. Some of you may have seen some of this, but we're going to cover it at a different angle today. And you might have seen this if you attended one of the events we've spoken at. But firstly, trust the system. And what I mean by that is, we've had personal trainers do our program. Like, they've actually trained as a personal trainer, and they didn't get results in their own world doing a very intense course. And then they came and did our program, and they were blown away by what they got. Because we're not presenting you with testable content. We're presenting you with content that adds value to you and shifts your lifestyle. So trust the system, but you have to do it by design. It is not a very intense regime. It is something that requires moderate intensity, but it does require consistency. There are many people who start off the challenge like it's a race, and they go for it, and by day 10, they're burnt out. They're like, I'm too tired, because they come into the program thinking, I know what to do. I'm going to work my ass off. No, you don't need to. You need to just do the system by design. A 70-year-old man can do it. A 16-year-old student can do it. Anybody can do this. Second is, we're big on what we call declaration and sharing. 3 weeks ago, Obama had his farewell speech, and he said, yes, we did. And 8 years prior, 10 years prior, when he was running his campaign to be the president of the US, he said, yes, we can. It started first with a declaration. So we first put something out there that we're up to. Then we go and fill the gap between that vision we see, what we're up to, and the actions we're going to take are going to fill that gap. That's what we do when we ask participants on our program to post your before photo to our public page. It's very confronting, but it has a phenomenal psychological and emotional shift. And I can only coach you the way I know that works, which was the way I did it after struggling and losing loads of money on loads of things that didn't work. Another great guy that did that, Muhammad Ali. I am the greatest. I said that even before I knew I was. His funeral was testament to this word and definition of the life that he lived was something where he declared what he was up to, and then he filled the gap. You can also choose not to post your before photos, and we have created an option called a privacy add-on, and you'd pay an extra £100 for that. But why would you want? We don't even want the extra £100. We would rather you cause phenomenal results and transform your health, and we know what works best. We'd rather you do it by sharing your photo to the public page. It's what works magic. We've also just found a correlation between those people that do post their photo and their participation and level of communication is way higher than those that choose not to and choose to pay more. So we want less money and more of your results. Community and support. Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins' guru, says you are the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. Now imagine this. You guys are at home. You have your husband, you have your wife, you have your partner, you have your mom, you have the people at work. They already live a certain way. They already eat at the desk. They already bring Doritos and the wrong crap that isn't adding value to you. They already eat stuff or live a lifestyle that isn't empowering you to transform your health. Like each of you have joined because you know your health is important. Like, let's not kid anyone. Anyone who has joined this webinar or listening in on the recording is doing so because this is an area that matters to you. Now, when you join an online community, technology has created a world where we can shift that community and those 5 people we spend most time with. Those people whose feeds show up in front of our face when we go on Facebook, where a lot of us are hanging out now, where a lot of you found out about this was on Facebook. You will become the average of those new top 5 people. So please, whether you do this program or not, surround yourself with people that are up to what you're interested in transforming, be it relationships, business, or health, right? Add me as well, and let's stay connected, and I'm always available to answer a specific question that I can provide an answer to. I gladly will. The 4th is goal setting and planning. Most of us don't know and don't like a routine. But what I'm talking about here is we have a relationship with our word. Each Sunday you give yourself your words to this is what I'm going to do this week. And when you give your word to it, we have a tracker where you can record your progress. You plot that, you say what actions you're going to do that week, or I will go to the gym this week 4 times. Put it in your diary and then just honor your own word and go and do it. It's as simple as that. 1 hour a day is 4% of the day. We're only asking for 4% of your time when it comes to working out. The rest of the time, you will be eating and sleeping anyway. Might as well have those be healthy food and sleep for healthy hours as well. And the 5th one is accountability. So now if you are on this program, this is where I'm going to invite you to take notes or take a screenshot. So we're going to use a number of apps, but 2 of them that I want you to set up now for the start of your program. One is called Runkeeper, and the second one is called MyFitnessPal. Runkeeper is something we will record your activity. If you think about it, we have accountability, and being somebody from banking and finance, every year we would have a budget for the year. Every quarter we would review our performance. Every month we would record our inflows and outflows. We could create a cash flow projection that if we got that cash flow right, if we generated that cash inflow and spent only what we said we would spend, we would have exactly the profit we forecasted 1 month from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now. Why we do that in the area of finance, and when we submit our annual tax return every January or October, we do that there, but we don't do that for our bodies. We don't record what we put in. We don't record what we spend. So with these 2 apps, we're going to start to implement a very basic level. So when you're using Runkeeper, you need to put the setting GPS, use GPS when outdoors. So whenever you're walking, it's tracking and it's mapping your routes as well. So it's fun for you to share on social media. Go under friends there and search for a friend called FITBANKER. That's us. Add me, and then I'm connected to you. I can like your posts. You can view my posts and so on. And then you can have an option to share to Facebook and Twitter. And when you do, if you use the hashtag FitBanker, then we get to see it and support you. There's power in sharing, and we will talk about that during the program and how it fuels us when you understand how the human brain works. By sharing, we contribute to others, and in turn, we get contributed to. So share not to show off, but share to be of value add to people, and that also will fuel you to keep being in action. The second app is MyFitnessPal. You have to go under the settings, set up your age, your current weight, your target weight, and then you need to set up what we call how much weight you want to lose. If you're losing weight or adding weight, if you're losing weight, depending on how big your difference is, we would say start with lose 1 kilo per week. Then your macros, make sure your macros are set at 30% protein, 30% fat, 40% carbs. Emma, if we could also send to those that have already signed up on the chat how to set up MyFitnessPal, so we can send them that video, which is a walkthrough of the instructions, or I will send it to you guys after this webinar. And under your diary, we want you to share it so that I can view what you're eating. And when you've recorded food in there for 5 days in a row, I can go in, I can review, I can give you some feedback, and we can really add some value to you, and you can start looking at what days did you trip? Did you blow your sugar budget or your protein, or why were you low on protein, or why did you go over on carbs, and what kind of carbs did you consume? Were they the right ones or were they the wrong ones? What are the good fats? What are the bad fats? And we can give you feedback on that. Again, there you can add me under friends as FitBanker, and then every week, every webinar we will have some assignments and little challenges, and we invite you to take them on and share them as you're doing them out there to keep you in action, keep it fun, keep it interactive. And we're also going to put you in a small team, so you'll have a lot of fun. So talking of teams, I want to talk finally of my best analogy of leadership. And ultimately, this is our game at FitBanker. So we are an education provider. We do exist online. But you have Emma here, who is now like family to us. And Emma is somebody who just started her own challenge last year. And it was so funny, before she heard of us or knew the word FitBanker or anything, we met her at our year-end retreat in Valencia, Spain. And at the start of the year, she had written somewhere on her iPad or in her notes somewhere, New Year's resolution to lose 20 kilos. She found out about us 3 months later, like in March, April, or May, and she signs up to our challenge. And by the end of the year, she was 20 kilos lighter. So again, a classic example of declaring something, putting it out there, and then it shows up. But you've got to be in action. Otherwise, a declaration without action is just a wish. And it's a lotto ticket. And I still buy lotto tickets anyway. But anyway, this is my best analogy of leadership, which is this is a race called Tough Mudder. I don't know if any of you have done it. If you haven't, I invite you to join me some point on one. And we did it this year, or 2016, with a Paralympian. He just came back from Rio. He's on wheelchair, and we took him through this 10 to 12 miles of grueling mud, water, ice, barbed wire, and some electric shocks, and the number of obstacles, 20 obstacles over those miles. And this one is called the pyramid scheme. To get over this, you need real teamwork. And this is how we develop leaders in our program and globally. This is what I believe true leadership is. Somebody goes below, so the girls with the green skirts below, they get down, they put their back up against this thing, they get somebody to climb on top of them, stand on their shoulders, and they push people over them. This is exactly how we do it. It's what we do in our program. When I transform, I get to go below and push people up above us. Eventually, we're building a big enough team of people that have gone to the top, they've transformed, and now they're uplifting you. You may have seen some of the photos or results, and you've been invited onto this webinar or on this challenge. And then when you get to the top, guess what happens at the top? When you're at the top, you now play a role of uplifting others. So when you get to the top of pyramid scheme, you then pull people up. And that's what we want each of you to be. We want each of you to be leaders, which is our ultimate commitment, because our way to transform, our mission is to transform 1 billion lives, right? And if we can transform 1 billion lives, we're going to need a big team. And so we're really developing leaders that are ambassadors out there in their families, in their community, and we're leveraging technology to reach as many people as possible. So that's what we're committed to, developing you as a leader. And I want to leave you with this. At the end of it, we would love each of you to be the change you wish to see in the world. At the start of the webinar, some of you have joined in midway. I promise that if you stuck on till the end, I've got a little surprise for you. And that little surprise is our challenge is obviously beginning on Monday. And the price goes higher as we get closer, and people have still been signing up and are signing up. And however, for joining this webinar, we do appreciate everyone's time, and you've taken time and an hour of your listening. Thank you for being on. So for that, we want to offer anybody that does want to sign up, you will have to sign up today though. Go to fitbanker.com go if this is something for you, and if you use this code FBX90Web20, it will give you 20% discount of whatever the current price is. So that works out, I think, to a discount of almost 70 pounds, 60, 70 pounds. So if that's something you'd be interested in, you can either go and do that now, or take a screenshot and do it after this. But I'm now going to open for any questions or any comments or any of the slides that you'd like to see again. Please let me know. So if you have a question, you can raise your hand or you can unmute yourself and simply ask. Are there any questions? Feel free to ask any questions or any comments. Yeah, Duncan, if you just unmute yourself.
Hey Ronnie, hi. So I'm just curious. You've been talking as if people have signed up. I haven't looked at like kind of what the sign up process is. Can you just talk me through that?
Sure. So the sign up process is if you go to that website, fitbanker.com go, there's an opportunity there for you to sign up. But signing up to the challenge means you want to do this 90-day program with us, which starts on Monday. And when you sign up to it, as soon as you sign up, we will send you a couple emails because it's usually spaced out because most people sign up 2 or 3 weeks prior or a month prior. We'll send you an email called What Next, and it will give you a list of items that you need to prepare. And another email is a questionnaire. And in that questionnaire, it takes you about 30 minutes to complete. But when you do complete it, you will learn a lot about you. You will learn about how and why you self-sabotage slightly. And you will also let us know a few things that are very important to us. You will let us know by completing 2 tests there. We'll ascertain your body type. We will ascertain your starting current position in terms of things like weight and fat percentage if you know some of that data. And if you don't even, that's fine. And what your goal is. And based on that, it will allow us to know what kind of a meal plan idea is right for you or what kind of training programs are ideal for you. And then the challenge begins on Monday. And before the challenge begins, if you sign up today, you'll receive an email on Saturday with what to start from day one. So there's some foods you may have to cut out, so we'll provide a list of those. And there may be some smoothies that you should start taking, and we will provide you those recipes. The first 5 weeks of the program, we create a massive boost in your metabolism. So if you join this challenge, and you might be joining because you want to just increase energy, or you want to increase your strength, or you may want to lose weight, whatever it is you choose, whatever it is you want to do. It might not be for everybody, but if you want one of those 3, then that's what that's what you will get out of this program, and we will provide you the tools, the education, the resources to cause that.
Okay. I mean, you've heard all this before, and I'm not putting this up as a blocker. It's merely a question.
Sure.
I have 4 kids.
Yeah.
And obviously we tend to eat with the kids.
Yeah.
That's kind of, in many respects that's at the root of my problem, because they're being fed kind of high energy, white pastas, things like that, things that they can burn off real quick because they're really active all day long, and they're kids. And of course that's not working for me as a diet, and I'm just I'm obviously wary of. I don't prepare my own meals. That sounds really entitled, but I run my own business, and I do that with my wife, and we're both very involved in that business.
Yeah.
So we come home at night, and the meal has been cooked for us and for the kids. So what I need to understand is how that would fit in with kind of that kind of lifestyle, as it were.
Okay, so I'll tell you one thing, and then I need you to answer 2 things. Is you don't necessarily need to prepare your meals, but on the first webinar, we ask people to look at what we call your limiting points of view, and consider that of some programs out there or some kind of fitness regimes where people prepare their meals. So whoever cooks for you is going to be very simple stuff to cook, or whether you order stuff from out, we will coach you on what you can order, like those ready-made salads and stuff from things like M&S and other places. There are loads of options there. And I don't also prepare my own food, and whatever we do cook is something that is under 30 minutes. The 2 questions I have for you is, one is, firstly, what do you understand by diet?
I would understand by diet the material, and I use the word advisedly, the material that you put into yourself in order to power the machine that's your body, effectively.
Yeah. I mean, that's brilliant, because And that's very correct. And the issue that we have with the industry is diet is often perceived as suppressing food or intake. So when people think, I don't know if I can go on a diet, they think it's a period of eating less. We eat about 5 or 6 meals a day. I am always eating. Wherever you find me, I will have a protein bar or a drink or a snack or something with me. So we have 3 moderate meals, and we have you can snack throughout the day. What we shift is the quality of what you're adding into your body rather than quantity. And you will have leeway to consume, and basically you will mostly be full. It's actually what's best for your metabolism. The second question I had for you, Duncan, was you speak about your kids, and I know it's an obvious answer, but how important is it for you that you are at your best as a dad, health-wise, for your kids?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's an obvious answer. There's a long-term goal there to kind of still be around when they're having kids.
Yeah.
You know, you know, to not be limited, you know, too greatly by, you know, the failings of old age. So obviously, keeping the machine working properly is important in that respect, and you know, the body is a machine at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's a you know, it's,
Yeah. Totally.
it's something.
And one wake-up call for me was when I was just climbing upstairs and I'm out of breath, or I'm breaking sweat on my forehead, or I'm getting massive flushes. I would think that just happens to me, like I'm one of those people that happens to, that I'm just not fit. Um, and I thought, wow, this is embarrassing, because I was 33 at the time. I said, by the time I have a kid and I want to go up Mount Kilimanjaro with them, I'll probably be 50. And I am so on a trajectory that is not going to be able to do this with my kids. I'm not going to be able to run and play football with them without being out of breath. I'm going to be the dad that's just sat on the side. And it really meant something to me that I'm not that I am the person that cycles with them, you know, plays ball with them, whatever, climbs mountains with them. And I really want to go through their growth with myself as well. So shifting that, I am my fittest, I am my most energetic, I am my strongest, and it's just ironic what a view we have that age limits our potential. I don't know if you've seen on our page yesterday, I shared photos of Emma. You should look at Emma's before and after photos when she started. She's 20 kilos lighter now, but she looks like a baby twin of hers, which is just awesome.
Okay, you cut out a bit there, but is that the Ronnie Rich page or the FitBanker page?
It's on both of them. It's on our FitBanker page. You can just scroll down the timeline. You'll see some photos from this week. Even if you go on my own personal profile, Ronnie Rich, you'll see, because yesterday is basically day 30 of the program. So some participants, they're 30 days in of the January challenge, and we've had people losing like 7 pounds, 6 pounds, 6 kilos. Somebody's lost, I think, and it's just awesome. For 30 days, people struggle to lose that in a year. And this challenge is just on fire, and we continue to be a lot more effective and impactful as each challenge goes on. And yeah, I'll be honest, for an online program, we're really amazing, but we do require the partnership of people on the other end to be in action and do it by design.
I mean, I think you know what chimed for me when I watched you and Richard talking the other day was you'll recall that you pulled out that bag of Doritos and you went through the taste routine with him.
Yeah.
And you know what I liked about your approach is that it's about resetting a relationship. You know, which you know, kind of inviting people to look at, you know, what food means to them. I mean, I you know. I'm tall, I'm 6'2", you know, and I've always been pretty fit, but you know, I smoked cigarettes for a long time.
Yeah.
Until I'm 43 now, and I smoked cigarettes from about 15 to quite a lot of them with Richard once upon a time.
Yeah.
Until I was kind of 36, 37.
Yeah.
Gradually, I've done that classic thing of substituting the oral fixation with cigarettes. That oral activity with food. And I wouldn't say that you would look at me and say, "Wow, that guy's really overweight." With respect, I don't look like you did when you started down this. But I definitely know that when I look at myself, I'm not happy with what I see, and I'm not happy with the way that I will graze through the fridge and eat, just poor food with, just poor nutritional value.
Yeah.
I love that crappy food. And it's just changing that is what I mean. And I need that
it's amazing that you share that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's a couple things. So you won't look as bad, as obese as I was, because without seeing you, I would assert your body type would be an ectomorph, or what's called an ectomesomorph. So you hear stories of even athletes in active sport who have a heart failure or artery blockage because your body type hides your fat. Some people, you might have heard the term called skinny fat. And where you have fat internally coating your organs, it's called visceral fat, something we can also test for you if we meet in person, or when you sign up, we will tell you how to check that, to order a particular scale to do that. When you know that, you will understand what that means for your health. We coach you on that. And that impacts your energy level. That impacts you feeling fatigued or not. And then the second one is your relationship to, so firstly, we transform that, and your body type, how you look, is no indication of health. Most of us assess health based on looking, feeling, and shape in the mirror. And it really hasn't got to do with those. We focus predominantly on fat percentage, and there are two types of fat percentages we focus on. The second thing is your relationship to food is what we call, how people form what's called compassionate eating, or how a stressful lifestyle triggers a host of hormones in our body, adrenaline and cortisol, and how these two spiral, trigger what we call a sugar spiral. And so the more we're stressing, like when I used to have this even before the webinars, but our webinar is about to go live and people are coming on, and something was not ready or technology was messing up, and I start stressing and I immediately go to the fridge and I'm pulling out one thing after another, and I'm having a drink and I'm biting into something, and it makes me feel that I'm dealing with my busyness, and it makes me feel that makes me think that I'm hungry while I'm doing loads, but I'm actually not. It's this hormone called cortisol which is triggered off a sugar spiral. Now when you understand that, then we coach you on what the alternatives are that you can feed your body that will not impact your insulin level or your blood sugar level, that will not negatively impact your health. So when you understand that, it's very hard to unlearn that. And when you really get that, you will have a different relationship to food, to one that is not pleasing the mouth, but one that's pleasing the body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it all makes perfect sense to me, I have to say.
Yeah.
Kind of,
thank you. I mean, if this is something for you, I think it's, if you'd like to do it, then I invite you to join us, and then we get to have these conversations and any questions that you have throughout the program for 90 days, and thereafter, anyway, you stay on the campus and everyone becomes family, basically.
well, look, when you refer to the campus, you mean the virtual campus?
Correct. So we have two groups. We have a group on Facebook, which is a free group for anyone, called FITBANKER Transforming a Billion Lives. And then we have another closed group on Facebook called FITBANKER Campus. On there, there's a host of files, attachments, a lot of data, like a library per se of content, workouts. And there's also a community that are sharing every day what they're up to, asking questions, and more often than not, one person's question is obviously often answering 20 people that had the same question but just didn't get to articulate it and ask it. And so it's a very enlightening and educational environment to be part of.
Okay, cool. And so what I'm looking at the moment is the 40% off FITBANKER Challenge and that code that you've just provided, yeah?
Sorry, you mean, yeah, to sign up to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you go to fitbanker.com/go, it lists out what you get when you sign up, and then there's a package. You can choose a package there. I don't know what it's priced at now, maybe 300 and something or 600. Whichever one you choose, they're both the same. So obviously just go for the one which costs the least, not the privacy add-on, which is £100. That's an add-on. And if you're okay with posting your before photo, there will be also a format in which you should post your before photo. We'll send that to you. You don't have to send it with your shirt off. If you choose to wear a shirt, you can. Most men do it with a shirt off. There's a demo. There'll be an example sent in the email to you of how to take the photo and the format.
Yeah, I can work that out from what you've shown already. And when you say post that publicly, that's to where exactly?
Sorry, say that again.
When you say you want the photo posted publicly, to where is that?
Yeah, it's to our FitBanker page. So on Facebook, there's a FitBanker page.
And that's the one that's completely visible, basically.
Yeah, yes, it's a public page. So yes, when you post there, your friends it will show up in their news feed. So, people will see it. That's part of your declaration that I'm here and I'm transforming this, and you will post your greater why that you're doing it. So, and most people dread that. When I did it, I hoped for a hole to open beneath my feet and swallow me. But instead of everything I feared, I just got phenomenal support, and I was like, I am so doing this. And it was a very different experience to what I anticipated. And I invite you to, as you go through that, you'll see a lot of people already posting for the challenge. 2-3 of them already posted their photos this week, and more are posting today and tomorrow.
Yeah, cool. Look, I admire the I get the reason you do that. I think it's a very clever idea. It's because you're that kind of commitment. It does create a commitment. That kind of declaration.
Oh, totally.
But I also there's a part of me. I've got a bunch of people that connected to me on Facebook that I kind of don't feel comfortable with making that declaration to, just because they're not my close friends.
Yeah.
And I'm quite a private person, and I lurk in Facebook. I don't post, but that's cool. I can get over that. It's not something that would stop me from doing it, and I certainly wouldn't pay £100 to hide that. But yeah, it's an interesting thing, and I get it. It's fine.
Yeah. If you have any questions, concerns about that, feel free to reach out. But also you can go to our Facebook page. If you click on photos, there's an album called Before Photos. So photos, then click on albums, and then there's an album called Before Photos. On there you'll see a host of everyone that's posted. We have multimillionaire entrepreneurs there, we have doctors there, we have banking professionals, we have people from all walks of life, and every single one person there had to think about this twice, what they were about to do, and every single one person there, I promise you, loved and thanked themselves for doing that, and you can see the results in the results album.
Yeah, that's cool. Very cool. Okay, cool. So the next challenge starts this Monday, does it?
Correct, yeah. So it starts on Monday. This offer is only for today, that anyone's signing up today. Yeah, that's it. Otherwise, the online price, and just so you know, if you have somebody who's done the challenge, they would give you a referral code, but that usually gives you 10% off. So it's just for now, for Monday's challenge, that we're offering this 20% off the price. So it's basically the best thing that we're putting online right now.
Okay, well, that's cool. I mean, all I know about this is what I picked up from you and Richard talking the other day, and it was you know, it was just pretty serendipitous for me. Just kind of, you know, it's one of those things. You know, this kind of live notification came up, and I sometimes, you know, watch what Richard has to say, because you know, I've known him for kind of 30 years, so it makes me chuckle. You know, and I like listening to him. He's you know, he's quite wise at times. So cool. Listen, that's great, and thanks for you know, having me around virtually this evening. It's been really interesting listening to your story and understanding a bit more about the program. And I've got that code, and I'm on your webpage, and I have my bank cards in my hand. So I'm sure we'll talk again.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Duncan. And this is how it will be each week. First webinar is next week, Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. So put that in your diary if you're signed up. And thank you for all the questions you've asked, because I'm sure it's addressed a lot of the questions at the back of the minds of others who are on or listening to the recording. So thank you so much for that contribution too. Mia or Bonnie, any questions? Sorry, go on, Duncan.
Can I ask another question? Is that okay?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, sorry, I'm aware I've monopolised you for the last 20 minutes. The webinars, are they at a regular time or a regular day?
They are 7:30. They are on most Wednesdays. So there are 10 webinars across the 13 weeks of the challenge. 90 days is 13 weeks. So there will be 3 weeks where there's a break, but there are 10 weeks where there are webinars. So it's going to be 4 in a row, a break, then 2, or then 3, then a break, then 2, then 2. And we will send you all the dates after you've signed up by Saturday. So by Saturday you will get all the dates, and they're going to be mostly on Wednesdays. 2 of them will be on Thursdays.
Okay, and they're all recorded as well?
They're all at 7:30. What we tell people is that we endeavor to record all of them, but we have had glitches in the past because of either technology or human error. And if for whatever reason it doesn't record, if it records, we will send it to you if you miss it. If it doesn't record, we will send you the equivalent webinar of a prior challenge.
Okay. All right, cool.
But
That's me.
It helps being on live, because then you get to ask questions that we immediately work on.
Sure, yeah. No, I would certainly endeavour to be at those, but life being what it is, you know, it's a funny time of day for me with kids and so on. It's kind of tricky. But,
so we totally understand. We have loads of parents who do the program as well, and some of them watch on catch up. Great. Thanks a lot for that. Bonnie, Nia, any questions?
Hi, Rory. No, I think I'm good, actually, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right.
Hi, Ronnie. Sorry, no, I think I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good too.
Okay. All right. Excellent, guys. Okay, I'm just going to end it there. Thank you all for being on. It was brilliant. And if any other questions or queries after this, feel free to reach out to me directly or message our page on Facebook. And I or one of the team will come back to you if there's anything else we can support you on. For those of you listening in on recording, if you're signing up and joining, you know, look forward to seeing you on the challenge, and welcome to the family. And we have another webinar on tomorrow where we will cover a bit of our story, but I also want to touch on very quickly a few things that you can do to boost your metabolism, and the question that we get asked the most: how much protein? And we're going to have a short webinar on that tomorrow. So if you or anybody else you know might want to join, you could also invite them tomorrow. Thanks all, and have
Ronnie, sorry to interrupt. With the webinar tomorrow, would that one be recorded? Because I'm actually working late tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow that one will be recorded. Because if you're on the challenge, then that content will somewhat be covered within your challenge. So don't worry about it if you.
Okay, brilliant. And then with this code, this Web20 code, how long is that valid for? Because I think I might know someone who would be interested.
Okay, so we're only offering as part of the webinar, but because we're doing a webinar again tomorrow, I'm going to offer that there as well. but it's effectively,
All right, okay.
it's valid for today, but since you're asking me now, it's also going to be offered only for tomorrow, but otherwise it's not
Okay.
there. It's the online price, and it goes up to 600 on the weekend or on Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bonnie.
Perfect. Thank you, Ronnie.
Okay, thanks. All right, thanks all. Have a great night and just have a phenomenal, healthy life. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah.